Welcome to another episode of But She's Your Mother, the podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Desiree Santos. She is the daughter of Charlie Brown Girl, who, if you haven't seen the videos that I've done on her, I will put the links in this podcast so that you can find them easily. Charlie Brown Girl is going through 3 estrangements because Desiree has a brother and a sister as well. Let's give a warm welcome to Desiree. Thank you so much for being on But She's Your Mother, the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Let's just dive in, okay? So let's start at the beginning kind of thing. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was chaotic, and that's how my brother uses, that's what he says to describe it. And my mother absolutely hates that. It's always bothered her, but it was chaotic. Lots of bouncing around. My mom's been married 5 times. My brother and my sister and I were half siblings. We all have different dads. My older sister, her father and my mother divorced when when my sister was very young. He had a drug issue and went to prison off and on. So then my mom met my father when when my sister was about 2, I want to say. They met in a restaurant. My father was a chef and she was the waitress. Kind of a cute story. I enjoyed listening to their versions of it. But they shortly divorced after I was born, probably around, I don't know, between a year and 18 months old. And then my mother moved back to Texas and she met my brother's father. Their relationship was the one that I remember the most. I do remember some small relationships that my mom had in between, my brother or my father and my sister's father a little bit. But that one is the one that caused the most trauma in our life. And yes, there's trauma. He was very abusive to all 3 of us kids. He was sexually abusive to my sister. Um, and uh, there's just so much to go into with that one because their relationship was very toxic, very. They were always breaking up, getting back together. There were times where we would have to hurry up and pack our stuff, even if it meant wet clothes in the washer. The washer, we would have to pack them up in a trash bag and just dodge. When my sister was young, we were both young. She decided she wanted to run away, but she didn't want to leave me. And we were the only ones at the house for whatever reason. I don't remember why. So she packed up a small bag and took me with her. And we left just at the nick of time because as soon as we left the house and got across the street, we saw my mom pull up. Anyway, we ran away to my sister's friends and hid out there for a bit, but we were found shortly after. I mean, I was probably like 7. Um, it was very scary though. I remember hiding in her friend's closet and the police opening the closet door and finding us. But she wanted to run away because she was being sexually abused by my stepfather. Um, and I remember when I realized that, I remember going to my mom and telling her that my brother and I weren't allowed on the couch, and my sister was under a blanket with my stepfather, and we watched movies that way. My mom worked night shifts, so he was left alone with us. I remember telling my mom about it, and I know that CPS was called, but I'm not sure if it was because of that or because of the abuse. Because like I said, he was also physically abusive to us. Um, but I I remember talking to CPS. I remember getting a little teddy bear from an officer. Um, but I don't nothing happened. Um, the next thing I know, um, so much. I don't even it's so hazy. I have a hard time remembering a lot of my childhood. I remember not long after that, my stepdad was very upset. Very upset. We hadn't left. My mom hadn't left him yet. I I don't know why.
Was she
Um,
witnessing the abuse? Like, did she see him doing things or
mhm. Yeah, I'm about to tell you about a very specific time. It was shortly after I told my mom about what he was doing with my sister. He couldn't find the remote control and he was very upset. So he said, Desi, go look in your bedroom. So I went in my bedroom. I was looking around. I turn around and he grabs me by the neck, pins me against the wall, and my feet were off the ground because I remember kicking the wall, like trying to like lift myself up off his grip. And my mom comes in and she's just staring at me, and he's like choking me. And I remember just like blurry, like he let go. Um, but my mom just stared at me. And I don't remember her saying anything. I
I'm
just remember them walking out.
oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I think I was like 9 when that happened.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know that I had already at that point told her about my stepdad. So, like I said, that's why I don't remember if CPS came because of like things like that, or because I know the school contacted them at some point. Um, but I don't remember for what reasons. I know just that they were called. And I remember when my brother, he was like 4 and he had an accident, and my stepdad was trying to get him in the bath to clean him up, but he was angry, very angry that he had an accident, and was wailing on him. And that was traumatic listening to your, scary.
Yeah.
Um, but my mom would always say, that she never did anything because she thought that, you know, if he told her the sky was purple with green polka dots, she'd believe it. That's what she always told us. Like she never really went into detail as to why we suffered for so long with him. But when my mom found out about my sister being sexually molested by my stepfather, she sent her to go live with a friend at 12.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a family friend. And she sent her to go live with her at 12. And then come to find out, she got pregnant at 14, a couple years later. I remember us having to pick her up. My mom had to go pick her up whenever I was in 5th grade. I had just met this new friend of mine. And I would stay at her house a lot because had I not, my mom would send me to my stepfather's house because she felt bad that I didn't have a father anymore.
Well, that's what she said. I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't sound like she ever felt bad for you, right?
Yeah. So I feel like it was just I was the middle child and my dad wasn't really involved. Um, Mostly because he was I was kept away from him is what he says. And my mom says that he didn't try hard enough. I don't know. He was in the military and he joined whenever my mom was pregnant with me. So I don't know.
The
But
the stepfather that you were sent to, whose biological father is that?
my brother, yeah.
So is that the one who was molesting your sister?
Mhm.
So let me just, I need a moment. I think we're all going to need a moment. The person who strangled you, witnessed by your mother, who knew that one of her daughters was being molested, so that's inconvenient. Let's just send her away. That's the person that your mother felt bad for you not having a father that she sent you to have a father.
Mhm.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I know. Um, but I didn't like being over there because he was just an aggressive person. He just has issues. I didn't like it. So I started hanging out with my friend in 5th grade a lot to avoid from having to go over there because he wasn't bad to my brother really. He wasn't really bad to me. I was just scared. I was
I mean,
uncomfortable.
he tried to strangle you, so he was pretty bad to you. But I guess
Yeah,
I didn't, maybe less that than, you know what I mean? Like what happens in our little brains is like, okay, he's not doing that anymore, so it's okay now, kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
hmm
it's contrast.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember shortly after meeting this friend of mine that my mom called her mom and asked if I could stay there for like a week. Um, she didn't really know him very well, but so that she could go handle my sister. Um, she had to go pick my sister up because she was a juvie. She got in trouble with the law or something because she beat up her boyfriend. Um, and so my mom brought her back, and I got to see my sister again after not seeing her for a couple years.
Oh, what a loss.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Listen, this is hard. Like, take a breath, like because your sister was, it sounds like your protector and trying to take you with her when you're running away. By the way, I hid in a closet too. Police came, so I so relate, right? And then one day she's just gone, like she didn't
Yeah,
exist because it sounds like she was very inconvenient for your mother.
yeah, yeah.
In
But I
the
remember seeing her again, and then my mom sent her back on her way. And I remember watching her leave at the bus station. And that was like the last time I saw my sister until I was like a young adult. Um,
Where'd she send her to?
to live with my sister's boyfriend, the one that she beat up. I'm assuming it's hard for me to remember.
Yeah, yeah.
She would be able to tell you a lot more. But that was the last time I saw my sister. But sorry, I'm trying to remember where there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. So we were talking about basically like your sister got pregnant, she ended up in juvie, and then you actually got to see her after she'd been living in some person's house, not even, a relative or anything for 2 years.
No, yeah. In Artesia, New Mexico. I remember that's where she was. Um, but yeah, there she was gone, and my mom was still with my stepfather. And I remember there was a point where um, my brother and I stayed at my cousin's house. Um, my aunt Jessica and Uncle John. Now, my Uncle John had an alcohol issue, really bad alcohol issue, and I believe that he was doing things to my sister as well. I don't talk too much about that stuff with my sister because it ruined my sister's life. Um, but I remember we fell asleep in the living room and we woke up in the kids' bedroom and at my aunt and uncle's house. And I remember walking out from the bedroom, the kids' bedroom, into the living room, and I see my stepdad laying there with some random woman. And my mom and dad were still together. So I was like, who is that? And my brother didn't know any different. He was like 4, maybe, well, probably 5 or 6, maybe. And he thought it was my mom. So he like got in the pallet and laid down with them. And I was like, no, no, get up. Get up. That's not mom. And I ended up calling my mom. And I remember specifically that it was her birthday because she was very upset to get that news on her birthday that he was seeing that other woman. I don't know. But that woman was also sleeping with my uncle.
Oh, wow.
And she actually got pregnant. And for a long time, everyone said that the child was my uncle or my stepdad's, because my uncle didn't want his marriage to be ruined, and because of everything that was already happening between my parents, my stepdad took the blame. And just a few years ago, that child that woman got pregnant with from either my uncle or my stepdad found out that she was actually my uncle's baby and just raised by my stepdad. So then I think my mom at that point left him, which really always confused me as to why she left him when damage was done to her, and not any of us.
So how old are you at the point when your mother left your stepdad?
I want to say it was like 10, 10, 11, probably more like 10,
Wow.
I
I
think.
remember also when she was dating in between your father and the stepdad, was she like casually dating? Was she moving people in?
No, we're moving people in. Yeah. I remember this one guy, and I think his name was Jesse, and I loved him. Um, and his mom, she made the best chocolate pies. And her name was Corey, and I always called her Grandma Corey. So that was a big relationship she had between the two.
I was just thinking so much loss and just the first 10 years on the planet, you know? Like like so many things going on, so much chaos is actually the perfect word for it. During that time, like your mother and you, your direct relationship, what was that like?
I thought my mom hung the moon.
Wow.
I thought that she did the best that she could and she didn't know any better or something. I don't know. I've always been the hip baby. I was always on my mom's hip. My mom and I were very, very close. And she swears up and down that's why my stepfather never touched me inappropriately. But um, I saw a counselor or therapist whenever I'll get to this point in a little bit. But at some point, I did see a therapist, and she told me that the reason why I can't remember a lot and all that is because there was trauma. And she believes that he did do something, but I just blocked it out. I don't think that. I really don't feel like he ever did, but I do feel like he did look at me in that way because I do remember a specific time where I bought these new bell bottom pants and I was super excited and I put them on and he took pictures of my butt and said my butt looked great in them.
Wow.
And my mom, I don't understand what that was about, but um, and I used to think as a kid, I used to get jealous that my sister was like the golden child in his eyes. Because I didn't understand that there was more to it. But it used to hurt my feelings that he didn't love me like that. That he only wanted to cuddle her. It's weird, but I remember feeling that way.
And backtracking a little bit, you touched on something where when your mother went to go deal with her, your sister, deal with, like,
Yeah.
um, that you stayed at a friend's house for a week.
Yeah. And because, so her dad, and she doesn't know this, and I'm not sure that she'll ever see this podcast. I never talked to her about it. But her dad used to come in the bedroom when I was asleep, when we were asleep, and would like pull the blankets off and
Yeah, I'm
please
so
himself. But I never told her because I didn't know if she'd believe me or not. And I didn't want to not have my safe place taken away from me. Um,
oh, you're safe. That was
I
your,
know.
isn't that crazy when you say it out loud? Like, what does that make you think of?
I
And
know.
that's that tells you just how much you were going through, that that was better for you than your own home. Right?
Hmm. Yeah. And I never told my mom. I just didn't want to not be able to go over there anymore. So I just would always pretend to be asleep
Yeah.
and just not look at him, not, just, but yeah, that happened often. He would come in there. So whenever I was 16, my mom had gotten remarried to a man that we called Bear. That's what we called him. That's what he went by. And she was married to him for a few years and he was okay. He wasn't abusive. He was just like super emotional and just really wanted me to call him dad. I felt really pressured. And I was a teenager. I didn't want to be at home. I wanted to do my own thing. I was in my bedroom, listening to my music, watching my TV, on the phone, um, and just being a normal teenager. I remember I was in seventh grade and I started liking this boy named Edwin. I was obsessed with him. And we would hang out after school. It was back then we could walk the streets after school, go to the park, just do whatever. And I remember my mom didn't like that I was always in my room with the door shut. She didn't like that I had this crush on this boy. We were doing typical kid stuff, would meet up at the park and kiss. We had our first kiss. And she moved my school. She made me go to a different school because she didn't like him. Like, she didn't like that we were,
Yeah, she didn't like that you were having a like a young teenage.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
she stayed in marriages where you were being abused. That she liked.
yeah, I know. And we moved schools a lot, though. I will say I went to probably about 9 different elementary schools, if not more, because we would flee a lot when her and her husband, whoever at the time, we would move a lot. We didn't have stability. My siblings, or I guess I should say me and my brother, because my sister was already gone at that point. We didn't have any stability whatsoever. And that's what my brother means by chaos. Like it was just chaos, man after man, moving, never having, stability. Um, so, uh, yeah, we moved a
Like
lot.
the fact that, whatever was happening was apparent to the school enough where they called CPS. That's pretty significant.
Well, I remember I was in like second grade. So she was still married to my stepdad at the time. And I think this is when CPS, around the time that CPS was called, we got lice really bad. My brother and my cousins and whatnot, we got lice real bad. And I remember them trying mayonnaise, peanut butter, all the lice stuff, and they were just having a hard time. And they shaved my head.
Oh,
They shaved my head. And, I think, I don't know if they really tried that hard or they just were tired of it. But I was bullied so bad. I remember they used to call me GI Joe or GI Jane. GI Jane. They thought that it was better than they thought it was better if I wore a hat to school, to cover my hair, which just made me stand out more because kids can't wear hats to school. It was a rule. So that was fun. But I think it was around that time that CPS was called. And I don't know if it's because of the head being shaved or what it actually was about.
they were
Um,
given like, you know, all the chaos, like there were probably other signs too. And even, the schools have records of
yeah.
where they're coming from, how many times they've moved. I mean, one interested teacher could look and go, why have they been to so many schools and start paying attention just based on that alone, right?
I never really thought about that. I never thought about looking into my school records. But I'm 36 now. Highly, I don't know if they still have those, but that would be interesting to look
Well,
at.
yes, would have records. You can get those records. You can find out exactly what happened because those would still exist, most likely, right? It's just
Yeah.
hitting, hitting down which place you were in, at the time. So you stayed with your mother then until you were 16, or were
Yeah.
there like disruptions in there?
Oh yeah. I was being a normal, well, I say normal. I was doing the common teenage thing,
Yeah.
hanging out with friends. I was interested in girls starting in eighth grade. I met this girl named Anna, and her and I dated and were together. I just didn't feel comfortable with boys. Um, so her and I dated for a while, and her mom was terrible. So she lived with us. She actually moved in with us, and my mom didn't know, and that was wrong. But I was a teenager. Teenagers will get away with what they're allowed to get away with.
And listen, that relationship probably was a lot of safety and care for you and affection and all the things, right? Like you're a kid. You're a kid who shouldn't have been going through the things that you went through the first decade of your life, right? I mean, teenagers, they sneak out, they do stuff. It's just that's like it's a rite of passage kind of thing.
Yeah, and my mom swears that, and she says on her lives that I snuck out as a teenager. I never snuck out.
Listen,
Okay.
I had a meeting, and it's okay. We joke about it. Like one of my all two of my three would be the sneaker outers. My eldest didn't do that. And like I call my youngest the Houdini. And eventually she stopped doing it. Like that was year 13 on the planet. And kids do that. It's you just have to, rein them back in and have structure and then eventually they stop doing that,
Hmm. Yeah, but I
back
didn't.
to
I never snuck out. I did many other things. So I did I didn't have to sneak out. My mom was not very like involved. She didn't pay attention. Um and I would just leave, just oh, I'm going to friends. So and so was picking me up. When no one was picking me up, I was walking to their house miles down the road. But anyhow, so I got involved with drugs. I started taking like Adderall. My friend had like Adderall prescribed to her, and she would just give them to us girls. And then I started snorting coke, smoking weed. Started smoking weed at like 14 because another member in that same friend's family that I told you about, um, her brother-in-law, he got us connected with that. He actually sold it, so he would let us smoke. And he was also very inappropriate with me. She doesn't know about that either. Um,
That's grooming, right? That's giving something to kids so you can, you know,
yeah,
your way in. And yeah, shocking that a young teenage girl who's gone through all that trauma would want to escape and self-medicate. I mean, the dots connect all the way through, right?
yeah, yeah. I remember though getting so into it at one point that I have an autoimmune disease called psoriasis. And my first breakout with that, it was terrible. I mean, it was head to toe, head to toe. And as a teenager, I thought, oh, this is a reaction to a drug. Like I popped the wrong pill, something happened. I don't know. But I hid it from my mom for like a long time. Like I'm gonna say a week or two. How my mom didn't notice that I was covering it with make. I mean, it's crusty. Psoriasis is like,
Mhm.
um, but she never saw it. And then my girlfriend and I got into an argument. She's like, "That's it. I'm telling your mom." I guess she thought it was bad enough, and it was. So my mom saw it, took me to the hospital. She was very upset. Um, I remember her being so upset that when we were in the hospital and they were drawing my blood, she was like, "You know what? This is what you want. This is the life you want. I'll be in the waiting room. You can deal with it yourself." And so I was left in the hospital room by myself. And I guess she decided at that point that she was done. She didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to be my mom anymore. And I know I was being complicated. I get
How,
it. I was 16.
okay, so you get it. Hold on.
I know. I have a
You're a
16-year-old
mom
now.
now, right?
So,
You're a mom.
yeah.
So can you imagine just like your daughter's become too complicated and you're like, I'm done. Meh.
And she has. She has already had some normal, typical stuff that I know is just a phase. And my daughter was comfortable enough to come to me
Yeah.
and tell me. She told on herself so that we could have a discussion. I knew that there were some things going on, but anyway, how that it's not normal to give up on your kid when they're being a normal kid. I know that. But I get it, I say, because she did the same thing to my sister, you know? She didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I remember going to school, I was a sophomore. I had made the high steppers team. I was very excited about that. That was the first thing that I ever did out of my comfort zone that I really
What is
wanted it.
team? I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So, the girls, let's see. So it's not the cheerleaders. It's not
Yeah.
like they're the girls that do the high kicks and stand in the line and do the kicks and
Okay.
yeah, the dancers.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember I made the team. I was so excited. Um, Starting my first year or my first year as a high stepper, sophomore year. And I remember it was August 26th, 2006 at 11 something a.m. I was in my third period class and I get a note from from a student council, some front office kid, telling me to go to the office. I was getting an early dismissal. I was like, that's weird. I don't know what that's about, but went to the office and there was my mom. And I was okay. So we get out to the car and I'm like, do I have a dentist appointment? Like, you never told me that I had to be picked up early. What's going on? And she gets me in the car and she says, I have all your stuff packed in the back. It's in the trunk. We're going to go pick up your brother from school. And then we're going to go to the house and pick up Bear, her husband at the time, and your dog. And we're driving to Oklahoma. And I'm dropping you off with your grandmother, my dad's mom. And then 3 days after that, you'll be flying out to North Carolina to live with your dad.
And had you been seeing your dad at all in your first 16 years of life? Like with like yeah.
I remember seeing him a couple times. I remember I was 7. I remember very vividly remember visiting my grandparents and my dad, being there. And then another time whenever I was in 5th grade, actually, it was before or after the whole situation with my sister. I tried living there for a little bit. It was before my sister had to be picked up and had to stay with a friend.
What do you mean you tried
Um,
there for a little bit? Like
so I went there for a summer
okay.
and I didn't want to leave. I had
Uh-huh.
2 brothers there. I was a middle child there too. So I had a older brother named Zach and a younger brother named Chris. And my stepmom, amazing, and my dad. And I didn't want to leave, so they put me in school. And it was in 2001. And I remember I was still in school there September 11th, because I remember September 11th. I'm sure everyone remembers that day. Um, and then I decided shortly after that, I wanted to go home. I wanted to be back at home. I was homesick. I missed my mom. Um, so my mom came and drove all the way there and picked me up. But she like didn't tell my dad she was coming. And she just snuck in the back door of the house and grabbed me and took me. Yeah,
That because your dad had some sort of custody of you at the time, do you know?
I don't think he did have custody, but I know that he tried to get me back. But he was worried that because he was in the military at the time, um, and she would call his commander and try to give false allegations and threaten his job, and so he just backed off. My dad, he had a son already and a stepson and a wife, and he was worried that he wouldn't be able to support them, so he just let me go. And he has lots of things to say about that now. Um, he and I actually do have a really good relationship now.
So at 16 now, she's shipping you.
Right.
Okay.
We drive to Oklahoma, and I remember we're in a parking lot, and I get out and I see my grandmother there, and I didn't know who she was. I hadn't seen her since I was like 10. Um, it was really awkward. And I just remember her signing my her rights away on the hood of her car like I was a dog being adopted at a Walmart parking lot or something. It was so weird, so surreal. And my brother, he was so upset. He was crying. I was crying. It was very emotional. And so I went and stayed at my grandmother's house for 3 days. And then I flew. And I remember landing and being in the airport waiting for my dad to be there. And I was standing by a pillar with all my luggage and my dog. I was grateful I got to bring her. And I saw them coming up and I recognized them a bit. And I tried hiding and I was like thinking, can I run away? Where could I go? Um, I'm in a whole nother state, don't know anyone, don't have a phone, nothing. Um, and they found me. It was awkward for a while, but once I got adjusted there, um, I had a lot of anger towards my dad because seeing their life and just it's calm. And I have a mom and a dad and brothers, and it was just different. I had a tanning membership. I would get my hair done, my nails done. We went to church. I found God. Um, but I still had that like in me. So I was still doing drugs. I would find it there and smoke cigarettes, sneak off and smoke cigarettes. And um, I remember while I was living there, that's where I saw the therapist. Um, and that therapist was my best friend. Um, but anyway, I had a pretty normal life at that point. You know, I wasn't doing like the coke or anything. I was at first when I first got there, but I started straightening up a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
you had something that was giving you a reason to
yeah,
stop. You had a therapist, you had someone who was showing you you were worthwhile and worth their time. And at the same time, like, so I didn't grow up with my father, and I met him for the first time when I was like in my late 30s, early 40s. And to go into a house where you never existed kind of thing
yeah,
and see everything you miss, it's like it's soul crushing, right? So when you said that, like, I know, the feelings of happy to be there, also angry, also sad, also what would have my life been like, and just all of the things, right? It's really, people don't understand. It's not like, oh yay, I get to see my, no, there's lots of, that's a part of it, but there's so much else, like so much more underneath the surface,
yeah.
right?
And my brother or my dad didn't know about all the things that I had experienced, you know. He didn't know a lot of it. And so he would when he would hug me, I didn't want to be touched. And I know that was hard for him. Until this day, I'm like that. I mean, I'm not comfortable around men. um, but you know, he did what he could while I was there. Um, he tried, and I felt that. But for some reason, I still just I wanted my mom. I don't know. I did go visit her one time when I was 17. My dad let me go visit for a month, and my mom wanted me to stay, and she was going to marry me off to the girlfriend that I had. So I forgot to mention that. After she sent me off, she had my girlfriend move in with her. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons why she told me that she couldn't handle me anymore. Is I lied to her because she found out about our relationship. So she said I lied to her about that, and I was doing drugs, and she just didn't want to handle me anymore. So when she made me move with my dad, she actually kicked her out too. But then a few months later, she let her move back in. And yeah, I had no communication either. I didn't get to have any communications with any of my friends, any of that when I was with my dad. And now I understand why. My dad was trying to cleanse me, yes, you know? Um, but it was really, I was mad at my dad because I understood what he was trying to do, but it wasn't fair to me. Um, you can't do that to someone. They're gonna have some anger towards you about that. Um, so whenever I came to visit, my girlfriend was still there, and my mom didn't want me to leave, so she was going to marry me off. And then I decided I didn't want to do that because I was like, I got a year left. I'll be fine. I'm not going to marry a stranger. It's fine. So then I went back, and when I went back, I came back with a cell phone, which my dad did not allow. And we got into a big argument once they found out that I had it. And I remember the police being called. I called the police, and because my mom was like, just call the police, tell them you're scared. So I did that. That didn't work the way my mom thought it would. So the phone got taken, and I had to live another year there, which was good for me.
Did your brothers have a phone?
My oldest brother did, but my younger brother now.
Really, to keep you out of the communication because your dad was afraid probably that maybe you'd run away, or all the things. Definitely not the
Yeah,
way to handle it. Also, definitely a complicated thing.
very complicated. Yeah,
How do you handle it? How do you open up, safe communication and be able to trust you, because you are young and all the things, like, I don't know what I would do. I really don't know, like, if I was in that situation as a parent. I think that's a really hard thing to do because you don't have an established relationship with your child, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's just not a black and white thing,
Mm-mm. No, yeah. Like I said, he tried, and I saw that. It's just I didn't under.
you know?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up going back and finished my year there. But I remember a week before I turned 18, I went and saw my therapist for the last time. And I told her, and she knew that I was out of there. But I didn't even tell my mom. I didn't tell anyone. I just thought, I don't know. It was so not planned out well. But the night before my 18th birthday, I packed all my stuff up that I wanted to take. And I went to school. And the plan was I would ride home with a friend and not on the school bus like I usually did. Um, and I would grab all my stuff and just leave because I was 18. There's nothing they could do, even though I was only a junior. I got held back in second grade. I got home and my friend, because my friend gave me a ride and she was waiting for me out in the truck in my driveway. And I walked in the front door. My dad was still at work. My stepmom was on the couch and she saw me go straight to the room. She goes, "Where have you been?" And I said, "At school." She goes, "You didn't ride the bus home. Why didn't you ride the bus home?" I was like, "Because I don't have to." I was really cocky, so disrespectful. My gosh. And she was like, "Excuse me," and followed me into my room. And she saw that I had all my stuff packed and I was grabbing it and I was trying to leave the room. And she was trying not to put her hands on me. So she was like just trying to block me from leaving. And she was trying to call my dad, like, gosh, I put them through so much. She tried to block me from leaving the room to the best of her ability. And then so I went to the window and I was like, I'm going to go out the window. So I remember fighting with her over the window and I make it out. And so she went around to the front door and I was in the truck and she came up to the truck and just said, "Just give me the key. Just give me the house key." So I gave her the house key and off I went. The next day at school, I remember the principal calling me out, just like, "Hey, I know you're 18, know that nothing can be done. Just please stay in school. Please stay in school. Your parents brought your school books. Here's your school books. Um, we can't allow them access to you because that's your right to deny that you're 18. But please continue to come." So I did. I finished my junior year, and then over the summer, flew to Texas. Well, I was staying with my friend. Sorry, I skipped over that. I stayed with a friend that I was dating. It was a girl named Crystal. Her parents allowed me to stay there to finish up the school year. Um, and then it was that summer that we flew and came to visit my mom. And during that time that I was visiting my mom, the girlfriend I had there at that time, we didn't talk or anything. She wasn't there anymore. Um, but I met my daughter's dad. So that's the beginning of my adulthood and the end of my childhood.
And during all this time, like we know like you didn't get to see your sister and lost all contact with her. What was going on with your brother? To your knowledge?
Oh, so while I was gone, my brother, he had his visitation with his dad, so he still got to go see his dad. Um, but then he and my mom and my stepdad at the time were all eating at Pizza Hut, and my mom had gained some weight, and my brother's dad was horrible about being overweight. He just was so hateful to people. Um, and so my brother was kind of picking up on that same mindset. And I remember they were eating pizza. This is what I'll hear say. I wasn't there. Eating pizza, and my brother made a comment on my mom's weight. And she was like, "You know what? Fine. If you're going to treat me like your father and you hate me so much." He was 13 and she signed her rights over for him to go live with his dad. Yeah. So
Hold on,
13.
freeze frame. So your mother, who's blaming her daughters and son that you are horrible people for not wanting to talk to her and being estranged, actually created no contact situations, gave you all away at different ages, signed over. I mean, your sister was 12 and then 14. You were 16, your brother at 13. Just now, you're inconvenient now. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what did you say? Not the villain, just the parent?
Yeah, some of those catchphrases that she comes up with, it doesn't make sense. And I do want to take note, since we're pretty much done with the childhood stuff. I'm 36 years old. I'm a parent now too. I have a stepdaughter that just graduated yesterday. Um, she's 17, and then I have a daughter that's 16. That's my biological daughter. And then my husband and I share three boys, 14, 11, and 4. Um, childhood, I don't hold that against my mom. I don't, I never have, never would. I don't, that was my perspective of everything. I don't really know what options she actually had. I don't know if she really did do the best that she could. I don't know. But I never held that against her. None of us did. My sister, maybe. Um, but my brother and we never did, never held that against her. So, but the only reason why I'm opening up about my childhood, the only reason why I'm talking about it is because she likes to go on her platform and make it seem that we had this perfect childhood,
Mhm.
that we didn't have any trauma, that she never made it difficult for us. Um, I've chased her off train tracks so that she wouldn't commit, when I was little. Um, there's just been a lot of things that she put us all through that she likes to act like didn't happen. In fact, she likes to say that she doesn't talk about my sister much, as you can imagine why. Um, my sister doesn't talk to her, um, because the last conversation that my sister and her had, um, my mom was telling her, your grandmother and I care very much about you. We love you. We want you to be healthy. My sister was having some medical issues. And she goes, and that's all we want. That's all we've ever wanted. And my sister was just irritated and done with her at that point and just said, you know what? That's a lie. Y'all never wanted me to be happy and healthy. Y'all never, it's a lie. She goes, Mom, do you not remember when you had to meet up with me? Point, I guess my mom had to meet up with her when she was 15, 16. I don't remember. Um, and she was at a restaurant, and my mother looked at my sister and called her a whore for sleeping with her husband. Yeah. And my sister was like, do you not remember saying that to me? Do you not remember? You act like I don't remember what happened. And I do. And my mom went ballistic on the phone and was like, I never said that. There's just no accountability whatsoever. And there's hard things that I know as a parent myself, it's hard to be accountable for things, that we know we shouldn't have said or done. Um, but not even just like the slightest.
Is it hard? Is it hard to protect your children?
No, no.
You say, like, because I hear a lot of grace in there, maybe she did the best she could and whatever, but watching your daughter being held off the floor by her neck is not a parent, a person, a human doing the best they could. It's a person who doesn't give a shit.
Well, and I can even say that I hate it when that whole group of
Mhm.
mothers, holier than thou, and they all like to say, we did the best we could with what we knew how. No, you didn't.
No.
I
Because
don't.
walking down the street and you saw a stranger being held that way, to call the cops or something, right? Your mother did the best she could to live the life that she wanted and didn't allow her children to interfere with that. As she
Right.
tossed them aside when they became inconvenient to her. And interesting, pretty similar around the ages of that as well, right?
Mhm.
I mean, she did the best she could to sabotage the lives of her children and then is standing in astonishment that they don't want to allow that to continue to carry on.
Yeah. 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 I've made mistakes, and doing the best you can is always putting your kids first.
Yeah.
And there's been times in my life as a parent that I haven't done that. In my 20s, as a young adult, I didn't do that. And I'm not too proud and too full of myself to admit that, because I know that one day these kids are going to ask questions, and they have. I have to take accountability for that, because they deserve that. They deserve, and for when they become a parent themselves one day, I want them to know that we're not all perfect. And but you have to admit that. You have to be
Never
forthcoming.
about being perfect. It's about being loving and kind and showing up and healing the wounds that you create. It's never been about perfection. It will never be about perfection. I mean, I was a 17-year-old mom. My eldest did not get the version of of the mother that she deserved. She just didn't, just for so many reasons, right?
Hmm.
And that's I'm so glad she's here. She's beautiful. I love her. She loves me. Like it's great. I just wish like I could go back and know what I know now. It's never been though. And she estranged from me in about 20 years ago for like a couple of years, and we've been solid ever since. And it's because, we had to go through that distance. She needed time, and I needed to be able to grow up a little bit to help her heal what I created by passing down trauma. But you have to also have an interest in actually doing the best that you can,
Yeah.
not hiding behind doing the best you can. That's just a catchphrase for these estranged parents. And maybe some of them did. I'm talking about the content creators. I'm not talking about all estranged parents. And maybe in their mind, they're thinking that. But to put a child in harm's way over and over again, witness your child being violated, in no universe is that doing the best you can for anyone but yourself and trying to keep and retain what you want to keep and retain. It doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me what she said to your sister about, and I 1,000 bajillion% believe your sister that she said that, because it tracks with how well, first of all, I believe your sister, and it tracks with how your mother presents herself, right? She just wants a free pass. So let's go back to your, because I don't want to get off track with your brother. So she signs him away to whom?
His father.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I don't want to speak for my brother or for my sister, and they both know I'm doing this. Um, but my brother, he's third. How old am I? Gosh, he's 32, about to be 32. Um, and he's starting to have something things come up that he's like, what's going on? And that he's dealing with. He's seeing a therapist. And my mom, when she disowned all of us, or before she disowned, however you want to put it, I don't even know, but she took a box of our stuff, pictures, divorce paper, like memories, and she just like, she gave it to me for my brother, and because my brother wasn't talking to her, and I gave it to him, and they have the divorce papers in there, so he's learning some things. Um, and I know my mom's probably going to watch this. Um,
Bring it.
and
I'm here for it. I will. She can bring it.
yeah, well, she's probably thinking, oh, yeah, he's seeing the divorce papers. He's seeing how horrible his father was. But there's things about her in there too. Um, anyhow, um, yeah, he went to go live with his dad. Um, and his dad actually married the woman that he was sleeping with that one time on the floor. He ended up marrying her and raising that baby together. And then he actually got her pregnant the next time and had a son, with her. And my brother, though, he he lived with his dad and did sports. He was very athletic. He's broken records. They're still standing records. We actually live in the town where most of the childhood stuff happened. I moved my husband and I, or I say my husband and I moved us out here 5 years ago. So I'm back in the town where a lot of that happened. Um, and so my daughter is actually going to the school where he broke those records at. So, and he still lives here too. But he did okay. But once he graduated, he did have some problems with adjusting to, I'm not in sports anymore. I'm not. this big star in high school, and now I'm just what he would call a nobody after being so well known. So he struggled with that a little bit, and but he maintained his relationship with his father. Didn't really, because he didn't know. Um, so I think we all kind of just let it be. I think my mom did tell him a little bit. I'm not sure, but I think that he didn't really believe her because growing up it was chaotic, and you never knew what was real and wasn't real.
So funny because she on her platform, she has a picture where they look so joyous, as if you can't have a joyous moment when he's graduating high school, and then painting him as the villain, piece of garbage son for not having a relationship with her. Good riddance and all. I'm sure you've seen the
Hmm.
post, right?
Yeah, I don't even know how she's posting pictures of us. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? That's she loved my brother very much, but I think that yeah, I think that it's hard for her to accept that he doesn't want her in his life. The Like I said, she's been married 5 times, and I guess that's the only young man, that she would expect to never not be in her life.
Well, yeah, because, that's her property. You know what I mean? That's not about
Yeah,
us. That's about property rights. That's about how dare you ever, stand up to me, have a bad thing to say or whatever. But in the meantime, she discarded him at how old when she sent him away?
12 or 13, 12, 13, I want to say.
And then expects him to want to be close to her, especially after everything that he looked up and witnessed, right? As a small child and going to therapy, realizing all the things likely that were normalized for him, the things he can remember, is devastating. And then when you have children, as I'm sure you know, you're like, oh, it's not that hard to just show up and be nice and love. And, it doesn't have to be that way, right? She wants, like so many of the strange parents, for her children to play a part of adoring children, even in adulthood. And anything less than that is a threat to her facade, and therefore it's not allowed.
Yeah, yeah. And my my brother is a dad now. He has a 2-year old little boy. Gosh, it's so unfortunate that she doesn't get to witness that. I cannot imagine not being able to witness my child become a parent. And
Mhm.
he's such a good dad. I mean, and becoming a father has made him want to be better. And that's what got him into therapy. The thing that I wish my mom would have done for us, and gotten help to be the better version of her, for us. And he's doing it. And I'm so proud of him, and he's doing so good. And it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. You touched on something that I think viewers will have questions around about your mother and I appreciate we're not using the word because you know how YouTube flags and whatever on the train tracks. How old were you and what happened? Do you mind talking about it?
My brother and I were in the back seat of their car. My mom was in the passenger seat. My stepdad was driving. And they were arguing really bad. And my mom was just like screaming, "Let me out, let me out, let me out." It was right over here in this town. I drive by the train track sometimes. Um, and she wanted to get out and just, yeah. And I remember being so scared. I knew what she was doing. And I got out of the vehicle and I chased my mom down. I just grabbed onto her, and she didn't, obviously. But you're going to leave me with him?
Yeah. Wow. How old were you? Do you know?
I don't remember. I just remember vivid, like the vision.
And the feeling, obviously, I can see it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And I clung to her because she was the only safe, like, person I had. So when she says, "Oh, we were so close. I was, always carrying you around. You were my baby," or whatever. That's all I had. Had I had another option, I hate to say it, but I don't think I would have clung to her so much
Yeah.
if I had known true safety.
Yeah. And also like It's probably something that you got from her in those moments, and she's made it the thing that overshadows, distracts you from all the things that she actually did to you and all the ways she didn't really show up. You know, a moment in time of carrying a baby around on your hip does not a mother make, right? Anybody can do that. It's the other stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there are good memories. There are good memories that I have. Mm, I knew. I just felt the need to say that.
do you want to share them? You can share the good memories if you want.
Well, I remember she worked hard as a single parent, and she would work hard. And I remember she would go to pawn shops even if she needed to get us what we wanted for Christmas. I remember one Christmas morning we had pawn shop stuff and we didn't give two licks. We did not care. We just saw her trying. There were moments where she tried. There were there were moments. I don't want to discredit her for that because, you know, she wasn't completely terrible. I really like to think that she did love us and care about us because I did feel love from her. But I also felt like it was circumstantial sometimes. So if like a man came into her life, it was, attention gone and onto something else. Um, and she's kind of like that. She was kind of like that with my kids too. When she's in a relationship, she wants to be a good mom. She wants to be a good grandparent. But when she's on her own, we're not grandmother material. Just yeah.
Like convenience kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how did your no contact begin?
My mom and my brother hadn't talked for years, um, long time. He did try reaching out to her a couple times, trying to regain a relationship with her. For instance, she likes to talk about it a lot on her platform. He reached out to her whenever he found out he was going to be a dad, and
Mhm.
she said that she felt like he was doing that because, or no, not that she felt like that. He did that because he wanted a babysitter, that he wanted it to be about him. Um, in reality, he just was just reaching out, trying. That was his way of trying. And I guess because it wasn't what she wanted and how she wanted, she denied him. And, he just went with it. He didn't expect at this point, we know you get what you get. So he just let it go. So I think that I'm sure there was other times that he reached out. I know he did try, but he would never get the response like made him feel that it would be anything other than chaos,
Mm.
as
Yeah.
he says. It's a big word for him.
Yeah.
Um, but he hadn't talked to her and she hadn't talked to him in a while. And my mom had her dog and he was sick, very sick. And she lived with us for a while. That's how she got back to Granbury. Because I moved out here with my husband about 5 years ago. And my brother was already here. And we moved out here because we wanted to be close to my brother. And we thought this was a great little town to raise our family in. And then my mom followed us out here because, or she didn't follow us out here. She fell ill, and so we had to move her in with us. But she lived with us for about a year, and she was very sick. But then she got up on her feet and she moved to an apartment close by. And anyway, so her dog was sick, and she thought she was going to have to put him down. And my son and I, at the time he was 2, were at the vet office with her for like a couple of hours at that point, and dog was a dog that my brother had gotten with her. So she went out to go smoke a cigarette while my son and I were in there with the dog. And she comes back in. She said, "Your brother's coming." I was like, and she said, I want him to be here to be able to say goodbye to his dog. And I was like, oh, okay. Don't know how to feel about that. That's weird. You haven't talked in years, but I mean, awesome. And so he shows up and he was being very supportive, hugging my mom, rubbing her back. And then I guess we decided that we weren't going to put the dog down. We were going to try another way. So we ended up leaving. My brother helped my mom get the dog in the back of her car. His wife and his son were in their car the whole time we were in there too, just sitting in the car. That's the wife that she says was so horrible.
Yeah, the one that she blames for the estrangement, actually.
Yeah. She sat in her car with her little baby while her husband was there for his mother. Um, but after we got the dog in the car, my mom turned to my brother and was like, "Hey, I'm not doing anything. Do you want to come over?" And my brother was like, "Oh, no, no, not it's not a good time, but maybe another time." Um, and that set her off. I mean, she got very upset. And so I was like, okay. They started arguing a little bit, and she was like, what'd she say? She goes, "Well, it was good seeing you, son. Um, I don't need you now, so you can go. Have a nice life. You look like you're doing good, and I'll catch you, maybe another 2 years from now." Just kind of blew him off, Like
She
he
didn't,
just dropped everything.
she didn't get what she wanted. You're not useful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And so my brother was looked at me in the parking lot and looked at him, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, thank you for coming, mom. Like, I didn't know how to handle it. I felt horrible for my brother because he tried. It was another time that he tried. And so we get in the car, we all go our separate ways. Um, and then a couple days later, my brother and I get a text from our mom in a group message saying that she wanted to talk with us, sit down, have a conversation with us, that she wanted it done on Sunday at so and so time, whatever time it was, and wanted us to be there. And so my brother politely declined. And I messaged her separately and was like, I can't be there at that time, but I can be there at this time. And the reason why I did it separately is because I didn't know where she was going with it. And I wanted to be like, hey, calm down. Like, I don't know what's going on. I was afraid she was going to go off on him. Um, and so she was like, okay, well, can you message that in the group message that you can't be there until this time? I was like, okay. So I put in there, hey, I can't make it till this time, but I'll be there. And she goes, so why can't you be there? Because nobody's dying. I know.
He totally set you up to play that game.
I
Wow.
get, I don't, I still don't know what the heck that was about. But um, my brother just didn't say anything. I think, I don't, it's hard to remember. I have a horrible memory. Um, but he didn't,
It's just a lot of information.
yes. Um, so I was just like, Mom, stop. I said that in the group message. Mom, stop. It's not necessary. Leave it alone. And she was like, No, you don't want to be there for what? Why? Because no one's dying. You just want me whenever it's convenient for, I don't know. She just went off. And my brother was like, No, because, I don't want to deal with this, or I don't know, something along those lines. And so the group message stopped. And then we were silent for a few days. My son was sick. I had to take him to the doctor. And then later that evening, once we got home, it was like 9 o'clock at night. And my 2-year-old son had fever, not feeling well. And she calls me, or call her, I remember. And we're on the phone and we're talking about that. And I was like, Mom, this is when we go no contact. I said, Mom, I don't think he was trying to be hurtful. I just think that he doesn't appreciate you being demanding. Like, you expect him to be there when you call. And he did come that last time, at the vet, he came. But then as soon as he gives a little, you take a lot and you just expect him to jump again. And that's his polite way of saying no. And she said, well, she wanted me to choose between her and my brother. She said, I understand now why my mother feels the way that she does, and doesn't like that one kid talks to the other kid. Well, you want me to choose between you and my brother? She said, yes. And I was like, what kind of parent asks their child to do that? And she was just quiet. And I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not. And then she, threatened to, end things for herself. And I was like, you know what, mom, I can't do this. I have a crying 2-year-old boy that you can hear on the phone because he doesn't feel good. It's now 10 something at night. You're threatening good, your life, because I won't choose. Um, there was something else that she said in that conversation that I was just like, good Lord. Um, but we got off the phone, and a couple days later, I get a text from my husband while I'm at work, and he says, "Your mom's here." And I was like, "What the heck?" But I come home, and he tells me that she was returning our house key and picking up a couple things that were hers at our house. Don't really remember what it was, but and she told him that, I don't want to be in your, I don't want to be in my daughter's life anymore. She, I guess at that point, I don't know if she told my husband why, but I guess she made up her mind and thinks that I turned my brother against her. And that's why she didn't want nothing to do with me anymore, because she had a realization that that's why her son didn't want nothing to do with her, was because of a story that I had told him, and it put a wedge between them. And that's another long story.
That's what she does in the posts about one sibling will poison all of them through the smear campaign and whatever. She posts about that quite a bit.
Oh, I know. And
Yeah, yeah.
all these people, they're
Like
just,
blindly following her without going, you have two daughters and a son that have nothing to do with you. You're the mom who sets the foundation for the relationship. And not one of them, I mean, I read through the comment sections, nobody. And then she gets that, I'm covering him now, that licensed family therapist, Peter, whatever his name is, to go on the show. I don't know if you've seen any of their like lives and whatever, and to just double down on her credibility sort of it's jaw-dropping to me what's going on that particular, because her platform is the most aggressive one out there. Like it's the most venomous one. And it's like not even trying to sugarcoat it, which I'm also almost grateful for, because when they're covert, it's I think a little bit more dangerous. She's like really out there. It's like the hate squad, all of them. They're bonding over hate with people that aren't reliable in relationships, and they think they're in actual friendships. And it's just I don't even have words.
yeah, there's not any. There's not, I could say a lot about her platform. But
Well, I
yeah,
have
she,
to ask you, so I'll ask you now, how do you feel about her platform?
okay, well, I stumbled upon her, I think it's like the Charlie Brown Girl 2. I was on TikTok just scrolling because that's all I do. First came out and I was in my 20s, I would make videos. I deleted that account years ago. And so now I just scroll and share with my family members, and that's all I do. But then I saw Charlie Brown Girl too, and I was like, what is that? Charlie Brown Girl. That's what my mom goes by, like
Why?
sometimes.
Why does she go by that nickname?
When my mom was younger, my grandmother's name is Sally Brown. My grandpa used to call my mom Charlie Brown Girl. So because her last name is Brown, and her name, he would just call her Charlie. I guess she just goes by that because of her dad. It's like, I don't really know, because whenever I found your YouTube channel, which thanks, mom, I found your YouTube channel because she mentioned you on the live.
I'm telling you
And
what's happened. That's what's happened. Keep mentioning me. They're just
yeah, yeah, she mentioned that, yeah, you were making videos of them. And I found you, and I was like, wow, this might be a way I can have a voice, because, and I'll get into that. And I feel like I owe it an explanation on this creator named Leanne.
yeah.
I want to talk about that too. But So I found her Charlie Brown Girl 2 thing, started looking through it. It's like, what in the world? And I don't know how I found her actual page. I did. She didn't have me blocked. And I was like,
You know, I think
what is,
they never block their children until they do, kind of thing. And they,
yeah,
because it's another way to impact you.
yeah. Well, boy, did she get that shock out of me. She shocked me big time. I saw her stuff and I was like, what is this? And realized that she made a point on insignificant her children are, but at the same time, only talking about her children, like how she's estranged. It's just crazy that she made a huge platform on it. And I was just shocked and started, I, I wanted to say something because, you see, she had like, at that point, I think she had 14,000 followers or something, lots of videos and pictures and stuff. So my first thing was like, I commented or I got on one of her lives and I said, "Hi, mom." Like, hello. And then I got booted real quick. And then so my friend got on and my mom was talking about how we abandoned her or estranged her. And I was on the phone with my friend. I was like, can you please comment on there? You abandoned your children? And she did. And then, oh, it was this huge thing. I came on her platform and was trying to, I don't know. I don't know.
Communicate.
Anyway,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So we were both blocked. And then, so I started seeing Leanne's videos. And I commented on one of her videos and I said, hey, would you mind PMing me? I'm Charlie Brown Girl's daughter. I said, I didn't realize that if you have a private account, people can't message you. Had no idea that she wasn't able to do that, what I was asking her to do. Um, and so I just went about my day. And then the next thing I know, I'm getting a text message of a screenshot from my mom of that comment I put on there. And she said, hey, Leanne can't message you because you have a private account. No worries. I gave her your phone number. And I was like, whoa, why did you give the stranger my phone number? But honestly, I'm glad she did because um, it didn't start so great, but Leanne did eventually give me a voice. At first, she was defensive of my mom. So she would text me and say, I would like to keep this off of the platform, your mom's platform, out of respect for her. So what do you got? And then I was like, what? After getting that text message from my mom, I was like, I don't think that maybe this is a good idea. I didn't realize that you were close. Never mind. I'm not trying to triangle anyone. So I wanted to respect that, like whatever. It prompted me to want to respond again. But it was also my husband and I's wedding anniversary next day. So I didn't get back to her very fast. So she had made a video about me reaching out to her. Leanne did. Um, and she was pretty much dogging on me is I guess, what you could call it. Saying, oh, you reached out and you're trying to triangle. Guess what? That's not going to work. But then she deleted it pretty quickly after she posted it because she realized I wasn't the person that my mom was saying I was. Because when I did finally get the chance to message her again, I said, sorry, it was with my husband's wedding anniversary. I do want to talk, but I also want to respect. Anyway, so she called me and we talked on the phone and she was just like, I can't believe this. Like, you're so nice. Like, you're so spoken and so emotionally stable. Um, and then she went to my mom and was like, hey, that's not who she is. I'm kind of confused here. I think you should give her a chance. Like, for as much as my mom was saying that she wanted a relationship with us, and Leanne saw that that was a possibility at that point, she was just trying to help and was like, but I don't understand. Like, why don't, but you said that you don't have your kids and you can rekindle this. Your daughter is open to that. It's you standing in the way. Why? So my mom got very upset because very upset. And so then I think the life coach, his name's Michael. I don't know if you've seen his videos, but
He's
he
the one
also tried,
on the ponytail?
not
Yeah.
the ponytail. His hair's like kind of specked up a little
Strangled.
bit, a little blonde.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is okay.
Yeah. He's really sweet. But he tried talking to my mom, like, hey, this is not what Leanne's intentions were. I'm not sure what all was said. But he tried talking to my mom too. And then next thing we all know, she blocked him, um, speaking mad crap about Leanne, posting horrible things about Leanne. And then still till this day, we know that she is reporting their lives, trying to report their pages, trying to keep them from speaking out, doing everything she can to tear them down because that's what my mom does. She sabotages people that expose her. Um, and so and Leanne's gets messages from people often. Hey, will you please not tell Charlie Brown this, but she's having us report your page. Um, and she's, claiming that you're now the reason she'll never have a relationship with her daughter.
Mhm.
So they're still doing that to them, even though they've moved past it and they're trying to get around it. But anytime I'm on their platform doing a live with them, she'll send her flying monkeys in and like attack them and me and act like we don't know who they are. I don't think that she could be any more clear, though, about one thing, and that is that we are so insignificant to her. We have no worth, no value. We, as her being her children, um, I don't think that she could make that any more clear.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Nothing. I don't feel anything because I feel like I've already known that. Like, I don't think that you could really care about your kids and then just walk away from them. And, so it's not really shocking or surprising. It sucks hearing it so much because it's like in your face. It's not anything that I don't already feel or know. Um, I think I do have a hard time comprehending them. Then why do you keep talking?
Yeah. Well, and she's got her new like hashtaggy kind of thing is hold the line. If your kids try to come back, don't let them. Like she's really trying to make sure that everybody is in her boat and feels good doing it and right and like they're empowered. And I mean, I find it to vile isn't even a strong enough word for how I feel about what she's doing because the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that estranged parents, all of them are vulnerable, even the ones who have been abusive and all of that.
Mhm.
These are all people who have gone through things that have made them into who they are because, without any sort of intervention. Like, they don't go to therapy, they don't go to look at their own wounds, they have their own fears, but all of them are vulnerable people. Not all of them are like your mother or just Jana or Solo in the Woods or the content creators. They are like they've become a research study without me realizing that's what was going to happen of their own. They have very common threads between them in that we
Mhm.
everything and everybody else. Our kids are ungrateful brats, all these kinds of things, right? And so, an estranged parent who isn't like them, who's going through the pain period of, I don't know what I did wrong that deserved this. I know I did things wrong. I just didn't think what I did was big enough that my own child would walk away. That's the disconnect, right? And so they're in this pain pocket where they're hearing from other estranged parents who look wounded like them. I don't
Yes.
know wrong when they fucking know. And they group together because they're looking to feel better in the moment. And the problem with that is that moment can cost them the relationship permanently with their estranged adult offspring because those moments are moments not going into therapy, learning. about what they did, how they carried things forward
Hmm.
here. So this is really valuable time that could have a forever impact attached to it. That's why I'm anything I can do to disrupt and rupture these echo chambers and pull estranged parents. It's not about followers and subscribers and whatever,
Right.
it's about the community that we're forming. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's an estranged adult daughter of about a year. And we were talking about how the community, I call our comment section the community, is interacting. And we have a growing number of estranged parents in there who are talking to the estranged adult offspring, getting insight, direction, sharing how they're feeling. That's what needs to be happening. Even if the relationships don't get repaired, that's not bonding over hate, that's bonding over healing, right? And so when I look at your mother, I'm just, and that Alice Neme, I think that's her last name, I can't, right? Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah.
He's off the teleprompter with this my head explodes.
They're just really full of themselves.
They really are. And they're really those two are like in like a love affair, right? Like they are just really, I don't like they're bonded. They are bonded
Hmm.
over
I
hate.
remember reading a comment that the Alice lady posted on one of my mom's videos, and it said, "Our children or these children need to be on their hands and knees, crawling and begging." I'm like, "Are
That's it. Well, tell me why you're estranged without telling me why you're estranged.
the only way I would want my children to be on their hands and knees is for God, not for me." And that's how you know they're full of themselves, like you are not. And they think, I'm the parent. I'm the parents. You be the parent and you set these rules and boundaries. But even though we're adults, you think that we have to, we don't have to do that anymore.
They don't want relationships. They want position. That's it. That's all. They want things to look good on a Facebook post. They want
Yeah.
to look good for the world. They don't want actual relationships. And the thing about it is as a mom of three and two grandchildren and one on the way, um, they're not hard. Like relationships,
Mm-mm.
like everybody goes, oh, these relationships are so hard. What's hard about it? One
No,
of
they're, yeah.
the adults, but I'm going to call them kids for the sake of right now, but they say, mom, I don't want you to do that or say that anymore. I fucking don't. Okay. I may want to give the advice. I don't have, they said not to. I don't do it. I don't do it.
Well, and one of the ways that I found out that Red was very Red Devil is what her name is on there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Um and there was a moment recently they were talking on live, and they were talking about how Red Devil said that her son and her daughter-in-law got upset with her that she had taken her grandson to a swimming lesson tryout, or like a little trial thing. And a lot of us were in there. Well, I watch from the hallways.
Yeah, I understand
Um,
the hallway too.
yeah. And if they didn't like that, they would make their videos. They were doing lives private for a while, but I think they want us to watch. And I don't watch all the time because I do have kids that I do tend to. She had said, a lot of people were commenting saying, you should have asked permission. You should have asked permission, because
Cool.
the parents were upset that. So Red Devil had said, hey, to her son, hey, I'm taking her grandson out, so and so out to go swimming, pack their swim gear. And so the parents, because she had done it before, didn't question anything. So they packed it and they let her take them. But she didn't tell them that she was trying to sign him up for swim lessons. Um, and I guess she didn't see that she needed to say anything about that because she watches the grandchild anyway, which I get. Like I get it. Like if you're watching your grandchild and you want something to do while you have them, I get wanting to
But there
do
had to be
something.
something else in there because what parent wouldn't want their children to take swim lessons? That's an awesome thing, right?
Well, yeah, I think that coming from, being a parent and thinking about how the mother might have felt, because I'm sure she's like my mom and she blames the daughter-in-law. But I'm sure she was just like, well, if he's a baby, it's his first ever thing being signed up for. Or honestly, I wouldn't want my kid doing a swim lesson at, before they're 1 or 2, however old the child was, because I see how they teach them how to swim. That's scary,
Well, and also, I mean, as a parent, we want to know who our kids are going to be in the care of. You know what I mean? Like, I would, for me personally, I have swim lesson trauma. I would want to know who's teaching my child, what the center is, what the philosophy is, because as you just alluded to, like under a year, like the philosophy might be just tossing the kid in the water. Well, I don't want that.
right.
Whereas there's other philosophies if it's more introductory, building safety in water. I would want that. And
Hmm.
it's not yours. They are not your child, right?
Yes, and yeah, and they just cannot get it through their thick skull that that's not your child, that's your grandchild, and you do have to now answer to your child when it comes to your grandchild. And she says, well, we never questioned our parents when they would take, our kids. Well,
Did you
because what
like
kind of
that?
parent?
But
Well,
did you like that you never, like, was that a positive experience for you? Because when I hear that, my first thought is, and so did you like that so much that you wanted to carry that down?
right, right, right. Well, I remember going to my grandparents a lot too. And I feel like the reason why my mom never had to question or say, hey, don't do this or don't do that with their grandkids is because they were good grandparents. They were good parents. They were good parents. So why would you not have any, trust in a good, I don't know. But even so, you owe it to your child, your adult child, to communicate and to respect the boundaries that they have in place for their children.
Yeah. So wait, are you talking about the grandparents, like the parents of your mother?
Yeah, my grandparents were great. Now, my grandmother, my mom, there's a reason that she has some issues. Is from her mother. Her mother was terrible. My gosh. Snooty, chin up, shoulders back. Um, but I love my grandma. I do. I love my grandma very much. Anyway, my grandfather passed when I was 7. He was a Vietnam veteran. He was in the Air Force, and he developed COPD, and that's what took him out. I was very close to my grandfather, and my mom was very close to her father. Um, and once he passed, I mean, my mom has 2 sisters. My mom is the middle child. Um, and when he passed, it was just, everything kind of fell apart.
Mm.
But my grandmother was horrible to my mom. My grandparents were very wealthy. My mom was actually a figure skater, and she trained with Olympians. She would go and stay with them, and train, school, train. I mean, she was really good, but she wanted to come home and she didn't want to do that anymore. So she came back home and wound up getting pregnant with my sister at 16.
Mm.
So she was a young parent, but she had a really good father. Um, my mom and my grandma are actually still in relation. They still communicate. There's been times where my mom didn't talk to her. So I know she likes to say a lot on her podcast that she would never estrange from her mother. She did. Um, but with I get it. My grandmother would tell her, "Oh, your husband wouldn't have cheated on you if you weren't fat. Your husband wouldn't cheat on you if you didn't have a mole on your face." I mean, my grandmother, you know, um, and she likes to claim that she continues talking to my grandmother because she loves her. She would never abandon her. My grandmother's nearing the end of her life. She's 80 something. She's very wealthy. Um, she doesn't get along with her oldest daughter, and she kind of gets along with her young. Oh, my mom's not the middle child. My mom is the baby. I don't know why I said middle child. But anyway, my aunt, the middle child, they kind of have a relationship, but My grandmother is a little uh, weird with that relationship because my aunt, that's the middle, talks to the one that my grandmother doesn't have a relationship with. So she's not as close with her because she knows that she has a relationship with her. And that's why my mom said in our last conversation that she understood where my grandmother was coming from.
Gotcha.
So she didn't want me talking to my brother if I had a relationship with her.
Well, she also wanted control and blind loyalty and all the things that go along with that. It's really about blind loyalty. Um, it's because, like, I mean, I can look back at it from firsthand experience, and I was really glad that my daughter had her siblings and her dad and all the people. And I know I would have felt devastated for my daughter if any of my other kids turned their back because she
Yeah.
me because it's my fault. It has nothing to do with them. These things do come down to control, to
Mhm.
not wanting anybody else to have an opportunity to give an opinion, to smear campaign, as she's calling it, smear campaigning, where, the difference is you're sharing your experiences. You're not trying to destroy somebody's character. And even here today, you saying, like, I also had good memories. That's important because that's the balance and that's the reality for a lot of people. I don't actually have those because they always ended in something bad. And I search for them because I would like to have some. It would be nice to have some, some goodness in there, as opposed to them, like, you're just all the devil children, and you're all bad, and it's all black and white, it's all one way, and this one's not talking to me. Then, you got to choose, because if
Yeah.
if you have a relationship with both of us, you don't really love me, you're not loyal to me, you're violating me, as if she was the one abused throughout her childhood by the three of you.
Well, yeah. And then what's also, I just realized what's so confusing is she likes to blame my sister in law for the failed relationship or whatever, loss of connection. Um, and I want to get to that too. But she says that I am the problem. So which is it? Did I turn my brother against you by telling him the story, or is it the sister, my sister in law? And she likes to talk about how that happened. She says that at my brother's wedding, and I remember this because I was there, and I remember my mom's reactions because my mom's very erratic with her emotions and how she expresses them. Um, but it was at their wedding, and we were talking about it was after um, they had their vows, and we were at the reception, and she had asked about coming to see them soon again because we were getting ready to head out. And my sister-in-law, my sister-in-law was just like, "Oh yeah, just give us a call first, like reach out to us first. They're newlyweds. What's wrong with wanting someone to, hey, I'm heading that way, or hey, can I come over? Don't just show up." And I think my sister-in-law was just saying, you live an hour away. I would hate for you to show up and we're, in the middle of something or not home. But my mom likes to say that she told her, "Oh, only through me. You have to call me and get permission to see your son."
Your mother doesn't do permission, that's evident.
My gosh, like, it's bizarre. And my mom never, I don't know. It's just it's weird how she got that. I think it's so weird that she likes to say put words in people's mouths when it's how she interprets that, how you interpret it is not how it was said, it wasn't how it was delivered.
Yeah.
Um
But like,
but
it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's doing. And it goes back to I'm the parent. How dare you try to create any boundary or rule around me, or any, because it's not about being, again, in a relationship. It's about being in control and having the power position.
yeah, and sometimes when they're like, "Oh, I'm the parent," I just really want to get in there and say, "Well, then I'm the child, therefore I'm going to act like one." you know like you can't sit there and keep saying that, and it's just
I'm the parent.
um
Well, yeah, act like the parent then. Act like the more mature one. Act like the wiser one. Act like the stable one. Like, I'm the parent. That actually isn't just a word. It actually has like a definition behind it. And
mhm,
that tagline, I'm not the parent, not the villain, not the parent. That was
just the parent. Yeah, well,
not the villain, just the parent. It's like, and she does these facial like she feels like she's really clever with her filters that like I'm sure if I walked down the street, but for the lives, I wouldn't be able to recognize her. Like the filters are insane. And it's a common thread through these platforms. Not that I don't add lighting and things like that, but I look like me in real life. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shorter
yeah.
than you think I am. Everybody, if someone meets me in person, they'll go, "Oh, I didn't know you were that small." I'm like, I come off as being really large on screen.
The camera adds weight, okay?
It's just kind of a thing. So since like, well, first of all, before I ask you the next question, are there other things that your mother states that you would like to address?
She states a lot.
Yeah.
Um, well, so recently, the most recent thing that I was like, oh, I really want to say something, but I couldn't, because
Yeah,
she
you
likes to take my voice. Yeah.
can.
Um, she had stated, so I got shingles
Okay.
about 2, 3 years ago. Holy smokes. The most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me. Now, I struggle a lot with anxiety and stress. Like right now, I'm shaky. I don't like being on camera. This is not me for me. But I got shingles because I was really stressed, go figure, and my immune system, whatever, however you get shingles. And I didn't know. So I remember eating at a restaurant with my kids and my husband, and I was just like, gosh, why are my lymph nodes all in my neck, on my shoulders, all in my collarbone? I mean, the back of my head were protruding. And I was like, and I don't feel good. So the next day I set up an appointment with the Care Now, and they told me that, oh, it's allergies. So take some Benadryl and you'll be okay. It's just your allergies. And I didn't believe them. So I went to my actual PCP the next day and was like, hey, check me out. And he thought that it was a boil on the back of my head, which, ew. But he was like, yeah, so if it doesn't like release by tomorrow, come back. So I came back and I was like, hey, while I was in the waiting area, I could feel like bumps, like a rash behind my ears. Like, what is this? And he goes, oh my gosh, you have shingles. And I was like, what is that? I'm not a doctor. He was going to lance that. It was a lymph node that was swollen. It wasn't a boil, it was a lymph node. So he was going to cut into my lymph node. Thank God he realized it was shingles. So I had a lot of anxiety going to the doctor because I knew that he was planning on lancing that if that's what that was. And then to find out it was shingles, I was just like, what the heck? I'm only, 30, however old I was at the time, 33. Um, so I was nervous. And my mom is very much like me. She has anxiety, she stresses, she um, fixates on things like her platform and her book. But so I don't like talking to my mom about my health stuff. Like when I got my wisdom teeth taken out, I have anxiety. So my face was huge and I would not look in the mirror. I wouldn't talk to nobody. When I'm sick, I like to be in my hole and be left alone. And I don't want to talk about it because it'll feed my mind. And so my mom knew I was going to the doctor and she wanted me to let her know how it went. And so she was texting me and I said, hey, Michael, my husband, will message you, call you, whatever, and let you know how it went. I'm just like real bent out of shape right now, just really overwhelmed. And I did that because, like I said, she makes it worse, my anxiety worse. Um, and so we get home, my husband talks to her, and she just recently talked about all this on her live recently and said that I was trying to lead her to believe that I had something terminal going on, that I was trying to control her emotions and puppet master her. And she, I guess she just thinks that all I ever do is sit around and try to make her life miserable. That
As
she
she
really,
out on video trying to make your life miserable.
yeah, I don't mastermind these things. Like the way that she can just take the simplest things, like how Leanne was just trying to talk to her and be like, hey, no, your daughter does want a relationship with you. And how she flips it and tells everyone that I manipulated her and triangulated her and Leanne doesn't want to accept that, she doesn't want nothing to do with her daughter because of whatever, just like the way that she's able to flip things. And these people just run with it. um, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I can't believe what kind of child just tries to get her mom to think she's terminal." And I'm just like
So,
screaming, not
like,
screaming, but
even if, let's say that was true, what's going on that the child would do that? Because the child didn't raise themselves. So even
yeah,
just even like nobody thinks critically of why would that be? It's not true,
but still, yeah,
you
for
know.
the viewers, yeah. I don't, yeah, um, I was like baffled just hearing them all talk about that. And no, I was giving birth to my second to youngest son, and she was in the room with me. And I was in labor for hours, like 21 hours. It felt like, I don't know, I could be exaggerating, but it felt like forever. And at that point, when it was time to push, I was like, I can't do it. I'm dying. Like, I literally feel like I'm dying. The epidural wasn't working. I don't know. Um, and I just remember looking at my mom going, I'm dying. Like, I really am. This is it. I can't do it anymore. And she goes, "Oh my God." And she looked at my husband and she said, "She's dying." And I was like, "Holy shit, I'm dying." I knew it. I knew that's why I felt like it. So, and it fed my anxiety and it made it worse. And that I only bring that up to that's why I didn't want to talk to my mom. Not that I have to explain it to strangers, but I didn't want to talk to her because I was going to get more anxious about it. I mean, if you have ever had shingles, it is so painful.
So, yes.
Yeah, it's so painful and it's scary. And if you already have anxiety and white coat syndrome on top of it, it's god awful. Um, so that I wanted to definitely address. And then my sister in law, she's not a terrible person. She's not. She's a great person. My brother is doing better because of her and her family. Um, they're very supportive and um, have never deterred him away from his mom. Um, they're good people, and I love my sister in law. And she is maybe a little different from my mom in a sense of having a relationship with God and just being closer. And she doesn't believe in like going to church because not all churches are great. And so they just study at home, which is what we do. Um, she likes to use our religion, our faith against us and post things like, well, Jesus flipped tables. Um,
Yeah. I mean, last time I checked, like it's not very godly, like to allow your children to be abused and to participate or toss them away and sign away custody. And, I mean, we can talk about religion or God or spirituality,
yeah.
what it is at the end of the day. If you're using it to hide behind it, then you're not a believer of whatever you say you believe in.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that she doesn't have a relationship with God because that's between her and God and not for me to judge. But I feel like you can see in someone if they have like, that in them. If they believe, you
What
can
they're
see it through them. Yeah.
or part of, yeah.
Yeah. And so using that as a tactic to get at us, well, Jesus flipped tables too. She don't even know what she's talking about. And there's some Christian believers that follow her. And I'm like, you guys, how do you not question? I just, you know,
Well, they don't question it because they're in the estrangement boat along with her, and they find comfort in she gives them ways not to look at themselves and self-reflect. And, that's like what we were talking about earlier, the danger of these vulnerable people who are looking for that comfort. And so, anybody's going to lean into a narrative, at least for a millisecond, that makes you feel better in that millisecond. And the difference is someone might lean into it and it feels better and then go, "Ooh," they have some discernment, right? As opposed to, a lot of them don't appear to have that same, because I look like I've been doing this long enough now that I know who the names are and the platforms. Like I can predict what's going to come out of their mouth half the time, or, in the comments section. I also see who's imploding and
yeah,
know which ones I predicted, and because I'm doing a thing on that, and none of it is surprising, right? Because they get the echo chamber. Also, they get very blinded by the fact that the only thing that you're bonding over is the hatred of your own children. First of all, that's the first problem. The fact that you can't maintain relationships with your own children, adults, we know that I'm talking about adults, and you're deciding that people who cannot maintain and nurture relationships with their own offspring are somehow going to be a viable relationship for you,
Yeah.
bonding over that very same thing.
Hmm.
That math doesn't really math really well.
Hmm.
It's not to say that if you are estranged from family members, children, or otherwise, you can't go to therapy and maintain very healthy relationships. You do need to go to therapy, though, or something. It is to say that with these echo chambers, that's what that is. They are just bonding over hatred.
And writing books.
Yeah. Well, I think AI is writing the books. Let's be fair. As a person who wrote a book, not with AI, they're churning them out awfully quickly. No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the way that your mother does some of her things, like she'll pause and you can tell she's reading it off her little AI script. And I'm finding that other estranged parent creators are now feeding the same things into AI, and they're really starting to sound identical because they're
Like
reading
robots.
like it is. It's very robotic. I caught one the other day that's going to be a little bit interesting when I do it. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good one. So since all of this has gone down, all of these estrangements, well, there's so much, right? Because I don't want to miss out on asking you something that I know people will be interested in particular, right? So where are you in your relationships now with I can see you have one with your brother and his wife and his family, which is also your family. What about your older sister? How is she doing?
She's she's good. My sister had a hard life, as you can imagine. Um, she has 7 children. 7 children, and the child that she got pregnant with at 14, um, my niece, I know. My niece is 24, and I get to meet her for the first time in June. Um, yeah, and she has 3 little children herself, so I'm a great aunt. Um, but so we talk, my sister and I talk. She's seen my mom's content, my brother's seen her content. We chuckle, and we have a relationship, my sister and I, but it's kind of like at a distance, mostly because of me, just because we're so different and I love her so much. But we were just so different. She had a bad addiction issue. Um, and she's not afraid to talk about that. um, and she's just been through it. She's had a rough life, and but she's a good mom now. She's doing great. Um, she has four of her 7 kids that live with her. Um, she's doing good. She doesn't even call our mom. She calls her by her first name. Um, but she's doing well. My brother and my sister don't have a relationship, but that's because my mom would probably say, "Oh, you probably triangulated them or whatever."
You're
But
fine. You've got it,
it's
girl.
me, got me. It's just because my brother is so different. Like I'm
Also,
right here.
right?
y-
And she's gone at the age of 12 for 2 years and then
Yeah.
come again. And he's behind you. Like, what's their age difference?
Well, my sister was born in 87 and my brother was born in 94. So, and we don't know that my brother knows a lot about his dad. And that was her,
Violated.
abuser. Yeah. And like I said, my sister, she lives a little rougher around the edges lifestyle, and he's, the opposite. And I'm like right there in between. I mean, more so towards my brother, but um we're just different. And but we all have the same feelings about our mom. My sister has wilder stories than I do. She remembers more. And all that. But we keep in touch. And like I said, my sister was just here. She just came by about a month or so ago, just random stop by because she had a drive through. So we realized that we only live like 3.5 hours away from each other. So we're going to go meet up with the kids and
That'll
all
be
that
nice.
good stuff. Yeah.
So, also, I just caught something. There's the husband that's your sister's father. There's the husband that's your biological father. There's the husband that is your brother's biological father. There's Bear. That's four.
Yeah. So my mom is not currently married. She just divorced this one a few years ago. Not sure, 3 or 4 years ago. Um, and boy, so uh, when my mom divorces you, men out there, she will sabotage you if y'all go your separate ways. And so, he was, cheating. And my mom like set up a camera in her house and left her house to go to a friend's house just to see what he was doing while she was gone and caught him with a prostitute in the house. And whew, she turned his world upside down, got his dog and got alimony. And I don't
Did
even know if it was,
you have that? Did you see the footage of the affair? Like, do you have proof that what she's saying is what happened?
yeah, yeah, yeah. She don't lie.
Well, she
Well,
kind of
wait a
does.
second. I would take that. She didn't lie about that. I did see it. I saw what I allowed myself to see because I don't.
That's why I asked the question because, I look for verification.
Yeah, yeah. But she knew going in that he was a cheater. She knew. She knew before she married him. Um, but my mom just dives in, man. Like she just goes for it. And I remember, so there are things that I will talk about. And it's not, my mom's talked very openly about my husband and I's relationship because we did go through a phase about 6 years ago um, that we were split up and things happened. And I will not be addressing it on a public platform because I have children and there's some things that are meant for us to talk to them about.
Business and nobody else's business. It's your relationship,
Right.
marriage, and it's definitely none of her business. And
I
if
just don't want people to think I'm avoiding that topic because I'm not taking accountability. Um, my husband and I have been married for 15 years and we worked through a lot. Um, and I don't think that it's, any of her business what happened. But anyway, we were split up, my husband and I. And I moved in with my mom and her husband at the time, which is her fifth husband. And she decided she wanted to leave him because she caught that he was cheating. And so her and I did our uh, routinely thing that we've done since I was a small child. And we packed all of our stuff while he was at work and moved out. Yeah. We found a house. We put a deposit down. We moved out while he was gone. And I'm really good at packing. I should probably make a business of it. Um, so we got out of there really quick and moved out. And then I, obviously made way less than my mom did. She was a medical liaison and I'm a dog groomer. So she made quite a bit more money than I did. And I also had 3 kids at the time. So I would pay, I got my income tax and that's how we got into the house and got set up with all our utilities and stuff. I helped with that. And we were just like roommates. Um, and she decided that she wanted to get back together with her husband. And she didn't like that I was dating someone because she didn't like him. And she had reason for not liking him. But we were like roommates, right? Like we were
I'm
paying,
not for business, so I mean, my
right.
kids have dated people I don't like, and
Yeah. Her reasoning didn't even make sense because I never even brought my kids around the man that I was seeing. My kids didn't even know I was seeing anyone. We sat down and we were talking, and she said, I don't want you seeing him anymore. It's like, Mom, I'm 29 years old. What are you talking about? And she goes, well, I don't want him over here anymore. I was like, wow, he don't have to come over here anymore. That's fine. This is your house too. But while we're on that topic, she was getting back together with the man that cheated on her. I was like, I don't want him over here either then, because, why not? Like I was just trying to make a point really, but I still would have, was respecting that she didn't want him over there, but that wasn't enough. She didn't want me seeing him anymore. And so I was like, that's not going to happen. I respect how you feel, but, and then she got very upset about it. And I went and got my kids in the bathtub. And as I was bathing them, she was going in my room and taking things out of my room because she was mad at me. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So then to rewind a little bit to explain this part, I had a Ford Escape and it was having mechanical issues. And my mom was like, just sell it. Give me the money that you sell it for. And you can take my second car that I have, and I'll just use that money to pay it off. And you can have that car. So that's what we did. So one of the things that she took when she went in my room was the car keys to that car, because she didn't pay it off and it was still in her name. But I had already given her the money for it. So I wasn't smart about it, but it was my mom. Like,
Well, you're not supposed to have to be smart about it.
yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
she took my car, and as punishment for not doing what she wanted me to do. So while she was doing that, because my mom's a very expressive and angry and was throwing things and was yelling. And so I called up my kid's grandparent, my soon to be ex husband, my husband now. His mom called her up and said, hey, can you come pick up the kids? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, I don't have a car to bring them. Can you just come get them real quick? And she said, yeah, okay. She lived a few blocks down the road. So she came and I got them out of the bathtub, dried them off, went out the door with them and got them in the car. And then she was like, I can't leave you. You have to get in the car too, because I know what's going on in there. And I'm not going to let my grandkids see me leave their mom behind after what they probably just witnessed. And I was like, okay. So I got in the car. And next thing I know, she had all my stuff packed up the next day. Maybe it was a few days later, but I went and stayed at a friend's house because I didn't want to go back there, because I felt like it was probably not the safest bet. It was her and her boyfriend there, or husband, and 2 against 1. I didn't want to be in that situation. So I kind of stayed away for a while. And then she told me that she had packed up all of my things and she wanted me to come get them. Well, I was then homeless. I had nowhere to go. So my kids were having to stay with their dad. My daughter had to stay with her dad. And I just told both of my kids' dads, 3 kids, 2 child's father. And so they met me over there to help me get their things so they could take them to their house, because I wanted my kids to keep their things. I just had nowhere to. So then we all showed up, as well as my father-in-law came with my husband. And then my daughter's dad brought his friend, and they got the kids' stuff. And my mom was acting a fool, just called the police on us because she didn't like that my daughter's dad was there. Just to make a scene, I guess. I'm not sure. And so that's the lie that she thinks that I told my brother. That's what she's saying, is that I told my brother that she kicked me out, and she did not. No, she didn't say that she kicked me out. She didn't say get out. She didn't say
and pack it up and take your car. I mean, okay, so we're going to get technical on the actual word. She kicked you out.
yeah. And she also put a lot of my stuff in a storage unit in her name and locked it up. And I had no access to that. No access. Yeah. So she didn't tell me to get out, but she kicked me out. And when she took my car, I just called my brother and said, hey, this is what happened. Do you have a car? Do you know someone that I can get a car? I don't have money. I just used the money to get into this place. So when I told him, he got upset, because my mom's kicked me out. My mom has kicked me out multiple times as an adult. Multiple times. And I guess she never really ever said get out. But another time that she kicked me out was when my daughter was like 6 months old. She was smoking a cigarette in the house, which we agreed that she wouldn't do. And I just went out there and said, "Hey, mom, can you not smoke in the house? We agreed. We talked about this." The next day, she had a packet of like homeless shelters and stuff for me to go to because it's just I don't. She kicked me out multiple times. Um,
Oh, but your brother not talking to her is your fault because like what?
yeah, so he got upset, and I didn't know this until like way later. Like I'm talking way later, like maybe a year later. That after I had told him, he drove to her house and went to go talk to her, like confront her about it. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
He was like, "Those are my nephews. That's my niece. You're setting up my sister for failure. You know, she knows she has to get a job or she has work." And that's one of the things is she told me that because I didn't want to not see the guy anymore, she said, "Okay, well, then you need to start making half the rent payments, half this, half that." So I got a second job. Um, so I had two jobs that I needed to go to, take my kids to school. You know, I was a mom, like I needed a vehicle, and he was just upset. And that made it worse, the relationship worse, because, you know, at that point in their relationship, it was okay, but my brother kept her at a distance. And, um, you know, that just made him not want anything to do with her, I guess. I don't know.
Well, but it should. I mean, like if I was doing that with one of my kids and I mean, listen, siblings talk behind their parents' backs. They're supposed to. That's the nature of part of the nature of the relationship. You know, like when your kids are little and you ground one, they're talking to the other, saying what, probably using the B word about, like they're supposed to have each other to lean on. That
Yeah.
isn't about triangulation. That isn't about, being against the parent. That's about siblings being there for each other. And we're supposed to actually raise them to do that because we're going to be gone and they should have each other when we're gone. And your
Hmm.
mother is weaponizing a very natural thing to have happen. And, he stood up to her for it and probably hoping that she would see, oh my God, holy smokes, not understanding that she doesn't have a conscience to see that. She wants what she wants when she wants it, the way she wants it. And she feels entitled because she's in the hierarchy. She is
Hmm.
patriarch. She is the end all be all. And if you have a need, oh, you're offending her. That's what a lot of this comes down to. So as we're talking about parenthood, what have you learned about being a parent, like your childhood and being a parent and relationships between parents and children now that you have been a mom and are a mom, right? Like in contrast, what lesson, what stands out to you?
Like you said, it's not hard. It's not hard to love them more than myself.
Mm.
It's not hard to want to be the best version of me and to make better choices. It's not hard to want to model a good, healthy, lifestyle, relationships. Like it's not hard. And they deserve they deserve your sacrificing. They deserve you um having to make difficult decisions for them. Um, I've learned a lot. Um, I've learned that maybe my mom didn't love me, you know? Um, I don't know. I've learned a lot. Um,
That's not because of you, right? You do know that that's because of who she is and all the things that she didn't deal with before having children.
and you and I were supposed to do this podcast a few months ago, and I canceled
Just
because I I have guilt. I have a lot of guilt talking about my mom like this. I love my mom, and I don't see her as a bad person. I see her as someone who is sick.
mm,
And it's hard for me to talk about her, um, expose things about her that she may not want exposed, But it's just I thought at first, the reason why I didn't want to do it the first time was because I had given it to God and I had been talking to him about it. And, he just kept telling me, why do you need to tell your side? I already know. I already know. You don't have to stoop to her level. And I don't feel like I am stooping to her level. We've worked it out and worked it out with God, because I have good intentions and intentions matter. It's not to bash her. It's not to make her look like a bad person. It's just telling the truth. And it's not my truth. It's the truth from this side. Um, and I don't want to just roll over and accept what she's done. Um, I don't feel like I should have to. And I'm tired of them trying to make me look like a bad person for doing so when I speak out. Think I deserve a voice just as much as she does. And thanks to Leanne, she really did make me feel like I deserve that. You know, um, I really do appreciate that support because she does have a bit of a following, and that's what made me realize it. And then when I found yours, it made me even feel more safe to open up because you do a lot for us, a lot.
Thank you. And what you're doing now is going to help so many people who have gone through same and similar situations, and even estranged parents out there to look for other avenues. This is what healing looks like, right? And I know how you're going to feel after this because I know when I started speaking out, and I know the experience of other estranged daughters, sons, offspring who've come on the show, and there's something very empowering about finally having a voice after being silenced for so long. And so healing about that, being able to finally stand up for yourself and being okay with that. And it is hard, because you get stuck with, but I love this person, but I don't want to do this. But there's a point in time where you realize you have a right to have a voice and to be respected and to be cared for and to be safe. And this is you standing up for that little girl who didn't have any of that as well. And that's what you're going to find after this.
Yeah, I think so too. And as going back to my kids, I know she likes to say, "Oh, they're going to be terrible." Um, the things that she says about my kids, expecting them to be these horrible people, they're great. They are so great, and I'm proud of them. And it's a shame that you can't see that and be a part of that. They have faced a lot of things in the last couple of years that she hasn't been here for. Um, and I am proud to say that my husband and I have cheered so loudly for them that they haven't even, sorry,
It's okay.
they haven't even noticed her absence. Mostly because she never really had a relationship with my kids. Um, my mom, I remember asking her before, so sorry.
You have nothing to be sorry for.
I remember um asking her to watch the kids one night for my husband and I to go out because we don't get to do that often. And she just looked at me and said, "I'm just not grandmother material." I was like, okay. So that's why it's so easy for her to talk about grandkids and how it's like, just let them go.
Mhm.
Just let them, because she doesn't have a relationship with hers.
Yeah.
But she can't relate to the grandparents that do care about their kids, like their grandkids. Like there's no relation there for her. So that's what makes me kind of sad for those parents that are experiencing estrangement from their kids is my mom's not going to be able to guide you as a grandparent because she has no relationship. I remember when I talked to Leanne for the first time and I told her, because she asked me about my kids or something. And I remember telling her that I was scrolling my pictures showing my son, my youngest son, um, who was 2 the last time that he saw my mom. He's now 4. But we were scrolling pictures, and like before, if I like scrolled past my mom, he would be like, "Oh, there's me, mom." And it was like 6 months, maybe longer, ago, that probably longer. We were scrolling and we passed my mom's pictures, and I was mm, just waiting to see if he'd say anything, and he didn't. And that hurt so bad because there at that point I felt like her memory is gone. It's gone. Just like that, all because of her. Um, and my Leanne told my mom that whenever before my mom cut her off. She's told her that I told her that. And my mom's response was, "Well, you know what? My son was, 4 years old, the same age as her son now, when he lost my father, his grandfather, because he passed away." And she said, "And you know what I had to do? I had to just let him get over it." I was like, "Yeah, you never loved him. You never loved my son." And that's why it's so easy for you to just accept that. And, there's grief with like someone who actually lost someone who's no longer here. And then there's the grief that we've experienced. And just to know that not only is she not choosing me, I'm used to that. I'm used to her not choosing me, but like, I love these children so much. How could you not? I just don't get it. So therefore, I'll never understand her as a parent. I will never. That's part of what I've learned. And they're doing great, and they don't notice her absence. So no, they're not going to come looking for her. My kids, my older ones, they're old enough to know. They know
Yeah.
she just disappears.
Well, and also the estranged parent content creators, any thought that they have that the grandchildren are going to look for them, all they have to do is watch the content, and they've filled in the story and left behind the legacy in such a profound way that you know like I wish my mother had had a platform back in the day because it would have saved my eldest daughter a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I mean?
remember you talking. Yeah,
Like it's like a thing, that they think it's just like, I know they rewatch what they post because I edit, edit, and they watch it and they think, yeah, that's a good idea.
I know.
So how have you struggled as a result of your upbringing and the estrangement? How do you think you've struggled? How do you feel you struggled?
Well, honestly, I thought that I was fine. Like when people would talk about stuff, I'd be like, yeah, so what? We all experience it. And the sad truth is we do. Everyone experiences some sort of trauma. But telling people that they didn't is not going to help the situation. You have to acknowledge that there's a problem before you can do anything else. Um, but before I never thought there was anything wrong, much like my brother. And then it just comes up, and you realize I got to deal with this, and I don't want to bleed into my children. I heard this quote recently. Someone said the biggest piece of advice they could give a parent is don't let your storm get your kids wet, or don't let the storm, you know, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, and about a year ago, I went and got put on some anxiety medication, because I sometimes will sound like my mom or feel like I'm my mom. And it scares the snot out of me. It scares me so bad. So I went and got put on some medication to help myself. And I've recently gotten off of it, and I feel I'm doing good. Um, but yeah, I definitely know when to get help. I know when to apologize, when to take accountability, and um, you know, so
I actually also I went through like 2.5 to 3 years of heavy duty therapy. I mean, I was probably in there. I was in like twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. I was doing group therapy, all the things, because the memory. floodgates just opened around the birth of my youngest daughter about a year and 14 months in. I know the turning point, and I I could see like feeling kind of like my mother on the inside, or what I think she would have felt like, because now I look back,
Right.
I felt nothing, but like feeling like no, I don't want to be that. I don't want to show up as that. I don't want to sound like that, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, I went on medications. I went into therapy and did the thing. And like, we can do it, having the recognition of you don't want to bring that forward. And we're all going to bring something forward. We're all going to have our moments. It's what you do with it when you bring it forward that changes what it becomes and changes or allows for the safety in that relationship to continue to flourish, right? That's the
Hmm.
right there, because it's the perfect thing, right? We're all going to do things. What do you do with it? Do you
Right. Yeah.
down and do it again and harder and worse and whatever, and then say you didn't? Or do you help to heal it and do better and learn from it and keep going and growing? It's a choice every single day, sometimes every single second, depending what's going on, to continue to show up and make that choice, right?
Yeah. And I know when I talked to Leanne, I told her that I was on medication and she made the mistake. So I want to clarify this for her, my mom's followers. She made the mistake of thinking that I got my prescription from a therapist, not from my PCP. So everyone thinks, I guess her group thinks that I was in therapy or I am in therapy. I need it, I'm sure, because we all do, not because I'm a narcissist or because I'm this horrible person, but because I believe I do. Everyone does. But I never saw a therapist. I was taking medication from my PCP. Um,
Were
so
they
that is
recognizing
why.
that you might have been seeing a therapist, though? I mean, it's such a healthy thing to do. They
Well,
recognizing it?
well, their thing was, well, why is she, if she's seeing a therapist, why doesn't she ask her therapist to reach out to her mom and not try to get to her mom through Leanne? So that's what,
Oh my.
yeah, yeah. So that's why.
Also, a therapist is not going to reach out to the other party. That's just not a thing,
Well,
you know.
not just that, but do they want, I don't, they're so weird. Like, do you think we should see therapists or not? Because y'all talk so poorly about therapists,
And
but
they
then you
want
tell us
us
that
to see their therapists. They want us to see the Peters of the world and the people that they like and that they
in
condone.
their group that,
Yeah.
yeah, my mom would never see a therapist. Never. Like, I mean, not that I know of. She might have changed. I don't know. But
Well, she likes the Peter guy. That's pretty evident because she's had him on a few times, you know.
yeah, I guess I don't know who Peter is.
Well, if you go and you don't have to. Well, you'll see my videos. You'll see who it is.
Okay.
And you'll go, oh, that tracks. And what they don't understand is I find him to be very predatory. I'm being careful about my language, not to call him a predator. I find him to be very predatory in a multitude of ways. And what they don't understand is that he is using them to make money. That's it.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. And it's not, listen, I have a business, I make money. I've been doing this 15 years. So I wasn't making money until like 6 years ago. So
Yeah.
never, it evolved, right? There's nothing wrong with using social media, having a business, having whatever. There's something wrong with having a business that is harming people, that you're manipulating,
Yeah.
that you have no integrity, that you're using to prey on people. That's what's wrong. It's not the monetization of it. It's like monetizing what you did to your children. Like you abused your children and now you're going to make money off of it. Hello, that's fucking wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
I'm pretty good about the swearing today, only two.
It's okay. It's
I don't have
fine.
the cup because it takes tough forever. So now that we've talked about how you struggled, how have you thrived?
Well,
I mean, I think it's kind of evident when you say it.
yeah. My work, I mean, in a lot of ways, my relationship with my kids, great. When I was in or in connection with my mom, there's a lot of times that she would just expect me to go and run when she wanted me to, and I don't have to do that anymore. It was kind of relieving at first because I wouldn't have chosen this if it. So I feel like it's kind of like a God thing, because I don't think I could have ever walking away from. I couldn't walk away from her. because I feel so responsible for her. Uh, that's a whole nother thing. Like I I tried to make her feel like loved and seen and missed when she first stopped talking to me. I would text her Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, Happy Thanksgiving on Mother's Day. Um, I went and brought her a balloon, some flowers, chocolates, and a card, and I dropped them off at her doorstep. Um, and I did just drop and go because it took a lot of courage to do that. My mom's very confrontational, and all she had to do was open that door and just make a scene. And I do not like scenes at all. I am the worst about that because growing up, my parents would argue in public a lot. So um, I like to not put myself in situations where that can happen as much as possible. So I just dropped and left. But it took me a whole like 2 hours to do that. I sat in the car for a while before I went and actually dropped it off. And then to hear on her live later that she actually just picked it up and threw it in the trash and just, well, said that God only knows. She said all kinds of horrible things and assumptions
Yeah.
with what she thought my intentions were, which was just that it was Mother's Day and I wanted her to feel loved and seen. And the Bible, it tells us to honor our mother and father, but it also, underneath that, it also says not to provoke your children. So,
Thank you for attaching that together because we all know how to weaponize. So, what, if anything, would you do differently?
um, I would have probably cut my mom off myself and done it a lot sooner, just to save myself more grief. Um, that's really the only thing I can think of because I feel like I'm doing pretty fucking good.
On that note,
Um,
life now. Talk about where your life is now.
Great. We just, like I said, our oldest just graduated. My second oldest, she starts her first job tomorrow. And my 14-year-old, he's going into high school and he is a big athlete. That boy is so talented in sports. And then my second to youngest son, he's going into middle school and that boy is a genius. I mean, good gosh. He has a big personality. And my youngest is starting pre K this fall. He's doing great. He's very smart and witty and just everything that is great. My husband and I, we were doing really good. We celebrated our 10 or 15-year wedding anniversary in March. Um, just last year during summer, we flew out and had our first family vacation ever in 15 years because gosh, this economy sucks. Um, but we flew out for a week to Florida for the first time and got to stay with my parents. And we went to Disney and we took our kids to the beach for the first time. And we just had the greatest time. I mean, we are thriving. And I don't say that as a my life is better now that you're not in it. It's you're right, mom. I don't need you to continue on in life. And you don't need me. And that's okay. It sucks, but it's okay. It's good.
It's okay.
Um,
Sad
yeah.
that it's be that way, obviously, but you know, you are where you are, and you're not just making the best of it, you're thriving and
Yeah, we are.
you're growing, and you're being the family that you didn't have, and that's amazing, you
And I
know?
think she envies that. I
Yeah,
do think
well,
that
because
she
you're
envies it.
supposed to fall apart without her, not understanding that the reason you would be falling apart is with her, not without her.
Well, I think she's envious that my marriage is successful. And
Right.
we've been through a lot, but I've been married one time,
Yeah,
one time. And my brother, same thing. We are doing good. And you shouldn't be envious of that. You should be proud that
absolutely.
we made it and we're doing yours. You should want that for your kids. You want them to do better.
You want them to do
Um,
better. You want them to be happy,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
and, all the things. Like, she's the one missing out, not you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and because of the estrangement or whatever these stupid words, but because we don't talk anymore, she the only other person that I lost in that is my grandmother.
Mm.
Um, my grandma and I haven't seen her since I was 16, but she just because she can be really mean. My mom even tries to keep her distance physically just because but she I love her, you know. She just has her own, feelings and stuff, and I feel like the older she's gotten softer. Um but I know that my mom told her that the only reason why I had a relationship with her was because I wanted her inheritance. Um Whatever. I don't even really have anything to say about that. Like it's what it is. But if my grandma ever sees this, I want her to know that I do love her. And I hope that she lives the rest of her life knowing that and being happy and fulfilled and loved. And I want her to know I'm grateful for her. Um, because I wouldn't be here if it ultimately wasn't up for her or up to her. So,
And I misspoke a little bit because I said like your mom is the one who's got the loss, who's missing out sort of thing. You also had the loss of, just like I did, so many of us did, of not having a mom experience, a loving mom experience. And I would be really remiss in not backtracking and just making sure I acknowledge that, because that's such a deep wound, right? What is something that you would like, what final thought would you like to leave other estrangement survivors out there? And people even are who are in low contact, other people who've been through, like not having nurturing, loving parents.
um, well, forgiveness is very important, and I don't just mean forgiving them. I mean forgiving yourself, um, and give yourself grace. Um, give them grace, but um, also don't forget that you are worthy and you deserve a voice. And um, it's okay to be emotional, even when you're thriving. That's normal. It doesn't mean I'm lying. I promise I'm doing better. Um, but it's okay to find happiness outside of that loss. And speaking out, it really is important, whether it's to a therapist or in this way. Um, and you deserve to heal. And if the opportunity presents itself for you to open that door, or to restart a relationship with your parent, um, I say go all in. Because what's there to lose? You already know. You already know. So there's no reason to have all these like 5 R's to start a relation. I mean,
Yeah,
just be your
your
true,
mother doesn't
authentic
want
self.
a relationship. She wants, she wants to drink and
Not regret, but remorse.
yeah, I'll put the 5 R's on the screen as the closing note so that everybody can see what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just be your authentic self,
if they
loving them.
then they don't love you for it.
Right, right. And it's okay to still love your parents, even though you don't know what they're thinking. And it's okay to still want that and to open that door up if you're ready for it. Just be yourself and don't try to be someone that they say you are.
Yeah. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Desiree, for being on But She's Your Mother, the podcast. I can't do it without that.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me a voice.
We have just one little final clip. Got talking about when
I found your page.
When you found my page. Okay, tell the story.
Yeah, I found your page and I commented because it was a video that you did on my mom. And I was like, wait a second, that's my mom. And so I heard you say in the video, if you're her child, reach out. So I commented and said, I'm her daughter. And I have nothing to hide. I'm not trying to hide my identity. I don't know what the purpose of that is. I mean, I'm not a famous person. But so it says my name, Desiree Santos. And she saw it that I commented on there, and she called my husband while we're out and about and we're in the car and my kids are in the car. Um, and she said that she was going to have me arrested. She told my husband that she was going to have me arrested for doxing because by exposing my identity, I exposed her. And my husband was so distraught. I'm just like, what is going on? Well, he's not about that drama. Like, he was just like, babe, whatever you're doing, quit doing it because I don't know if what she's saying is real. Um, but yeah, she said that I was exposing her identity and she was going to have me arrested and to figure out, my husband needed to figure out what to do with our kids because I'm going to be in jail.
Oh my gosh. I just can't even. You had sent that to me in an email, and I immediately sent back, she can't have you arrested.
Yeah,
You're,
I was so confused. I was
yeah,
like, holy shit,
yeah,
what did I do?
nothing. You did nothing. I mean, we're allowed to talk about people on the internet. We're not allowed to defame them, right? We can't say things that, could impact their income or something like that. You're not allowed to do that. Although they've done that to me. I don't care. Like, because what's actually happened is it brought you to me. It brought other people to me because as soon as they talk about me on their platforms, estranged adult offsprings are also watching. It also has brought a lot of estranged parents to me because
Hmm.
they're like, oh, let me see oh, she did lie. Not me, them. And I have it on video. And so it's changed our community for the better. So there you go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know Charlie Brown Girl, I know you're going to watch and have at it. Do your worst. I'm here for it.